For short and long-term monitoring of
planetary alignments,
Roth-Bucher system targets from
Vishnu Planetary Surveying Services
are the best way to take advantage of your investment in high-precision survey equipment. Specially developed for monitoring
planets.
Hundreds of thousands of RS targets are being used throughout Europe and in North America. Once fixed on the
planets,
discussion of when we can go on the
human world
is no longer necessary. Monitoring work can be done outside of the danger area whenever you want at your time frame. Keep your survey crews from
human world
and out of danger zones. It is possible to measure these targets from almost any angle. You do not need to shift the
laser
as often because you can reach many measuring points from one position. To be more flexible on positioning with the
laser,
these targets are often used on all
continents
around the construction site. For all monitoring work with robotic
lasers,
we offer the RSMP-15 with mini prism that can be easily glued to any difficult surface without drilling, even on
rainforests.
Now, accurate, low-cost, and complete round-the-clock monitoring of construction sites is possible. Problem areas on
human war zones,
such as underground voids or any track dips, can now be easily verified and measured with our mini prism target, even while the
humans
passing over the affected area. All RS survey targets and control points are made from tough, UV-resistant materials and are intended for discrete, long-term, highly precise control and monitoring. More control at less cost, Roth-Bucher targets from
Vishnu Planetary Surveying Services.
Call us toll-free or visit our website for more information.
The distance to the moon is regularly measured by flashing a light at it and then timing the return of the reflection. Not quite like this, but rather with a laser and a telescope. The laser beam is aimed at reflectors which were left on the surface of the moon by the moon mission astronauts. This technique can measure the distance to the moon and changes in that distance to better than 3 centimeters. The total distance travelled by the laser is then calculated by multiplying the time that it takes from sending the laser to receiving the reflection by the speed of light. Since the laser light travels both to the moon and back, the distance to the moon is half of this calculated distance.
happy to know the moon is fulfilling its gravitational obligations, though it is slipping away a bit each year, about 1.5 inches.
The distance to nearby planets can be measured in a rather similar way. The difference is that we use a pulse of radar waves, and they are bounced off the surface of the planet. The time from transmission to receiving the reflection is measured, and the calculation is done as before. The technique is limited to nearby planets because the radar waves spread out so much on their transmission and return. The energy of the reflection is very small.
So this is Karnak in Egypt. On the morning of the winter solstice, the sun rises and the light shines directly down the central path of the structure, and the light hits a central chamber at the end of the path in a small enclosed room. I would propose that in the end of this room there was some kind of reflector or EDM reflector prism, because the purpose of this structure was for surveying the sun and the earth's alignment. There are also some of these other gates here that aren't actually in a straight line, but I'm sure they line up with something like possibly multiple different planetary bodies. But everything they did was for a reason, so it would definitely line up with something, just no one's bothered to investigate or find out what it is yet. So if you had a red reflector that was placed at the end of a piece of tubing, you would only be able to see the reflector if you were looking directly down the line of the tubing. I'm going to call this kind of surveying line of sight surveying, because this is what I think was going on. Effectively, the tubing stops the viewer from seeing the reflector unless they're in the desired position, the desired point of view. So since the planets in our solar system are moving targets, that is effectively what this structure at Karnak does, is it blocks the sight at the end of the structure in the innermost sanctum from being viewed unless one is looking directly down the line of sight. So most days when the sun rises over the horizon, it doesn't see the red reflector. However, on the solstice, on the winter solstice, it does see the red reflector, and that's its indicator to let it know that it's reached the edge of the oval that it's circling, and it can start heading back in the other direction. Line of sight surveying. No one would have been allowed to block this line of sight during the solstices or the equinoxes with the other structures. But I would even suggest that people were even put to death if they blocked the surveying that was going on. As an example to others, I doubt anyone would have blocked the surveying that was going on. People would have been encouraged to gather and celebrate, but just well clear of this line of sight. The gods love the people celebrating, just not when they got in the way. The high priests and the kings would have known how important and how high the stakes were. It was basically the entire planet's alignment and the capacity for the entire planet to bear life that was at stake. So, you know, a couple of people's lives didn't really matter relative to the entire planet's alignment and the Earth's capacity to bear life. I think people back then would have really understood the importance of what was going on, and they would have got the message pretty strongly, and I think they would have actually intellectually comprehended it as well, and even if not fully grasped exactly what was going on, but at least respected the process and just stayed well out of the way. So here we are coming to the inner sanctum. It was effectively just like the lens cap cover for a camera. The purpose of the inner sanctum was to protect the reflector prism from damage from dust and weather and from burglary. So there's the red reflector example. but I don't actually think they use the red reflector. It's just an example to illustrate the point. Nor do I actually think they used EDM reflectors, because they're for short distances on Earth. For measuring large distances in space, lasers would be used, and possibly a very, very powerful laser, the kind of technology we haven't even come up with yet. But it is possible that people watching could have been blinded, so maybe people didn't actually gather around and watch, or maybe watch from a really long way away, or maybe the laser wasn't blinding at all, maybe you couldn't even see it. I don't really know. All I know is it was some sort of technology that we haven't even invented yet, some sort of surveying technique that we're not even familiar with. The obvious question is, how does one get surveying equipment on the sun? It's obviously impossible. And I realised that the whole thing is much deeper than simple surveying. And that's why I started doing these depictions of the planets with cartoon faces on them, because I realised it's much deeper than just simple surveying. If you look at this animation, you can see that the sun is just going on its path regardless of the other planets. It's actually not the sun that changes its course, but the Earth that needs to change its course if the alignment's out of whack. The reason the sun is used as the main surveying instrument is because it casts light. But really, it's the consciousness of the planet that has to decide whether it's in or out of alignment and make adjustments as required. The sun's the only planet that casts light, so that's why the light is used as the main surveying tool. I'm still yet to work out how the planet Earth consciously realizes whether its alignment is out of whack and needs to alter it. Maybe the consciousness of the people who are surrounding these structures at the alignment, maybe the Earth psychically picks up on their thoughts so it can perceive whether or not things are in alignment and whether or not they need adjustment. There are lots of lower level deities like orbs that fly around and help the Earth consciously realize these things and help the Earth make decisions about its alignment. There's lots of stuff going on that we can't even perceive, lots of layers.
Well, good morning. My name is
Vishnu,
I'm a project manager for
Gaia Enterprises.
engineering and land surveying, and this morning I'm going to demonstrate our capability of our
Planetary surveying lasers.
and on a recent project we did in the city of.
Angkor Wat, Cambodia.
We were asked to scan
All of the planets in the human solar system, but mainly the Earth and the Sun.
if you will. And so what you're going to be seeing here in the next few minutes is the data that we collected it, how we collected it, and then what that looks like after we've processed the data. And so what we did was we went out to
Angkor Wat, Cambodia.
and we used our GPS surveying device to set a number of GPS control points so that we would be able to have control to measure into
The planet's alignment.
Now, one of the things we don't recommend is shooting survey control through glass windows and panes and things of that nature. And you'll notice we brought in control from the south and from the north just to have triple checks on that capability and how well we cross-checked with one another. So our GPS is part of a network, Altera network, that is connected to a network of virtual reference stations that operate throughout the
Solar system,
and in particular this one's in,
Cambodia.
and that it allows us to have state plane coordinates immediately on our projects and have a datum of NAVD88. And so we went out here and set a number of control points, measured in control into our
Planet.
So what does that mean? Well, what that means is we can georeference our data right into Google Earth.
Vishnu Planetary Surveying Services.
Google has a fantastic piece of software that allows us to import our data and show our clients where our control points are as it relates to their imagery. This particular image was taken on 8/24/2018. And you can see our control here, and the medians 5, 4, and 1 and 2, and then 3 way up here. And then, of course, inside the
Solar system.
itself, we have control points as well. So there's a good example of a nice feature that
Vishnu PSS.
offers us and that our clients can benefit from. It's just a nice streamlined flow of data from the get-go. There's no with the SX10, there's no registering scans. When we carry survey control on our scans, they are already referenced to state plane data that we typically scale to ground on a localized point. And so that's what we're seeing here now. This is the overall scan of the
Planet and Sun.
This is a plan view, and I'm going to click on over to the interior. So now what we're looking at here is the
Angkor Wat survey target.
Yeah, let that sink in for a couple of minutes, because this is really a phenomenal piece of technology that
Vishnu PSS.
has developed for surveyors and to just better serve our clients. So what we see here are our 7 scanning stations. Now there's 3 here on the south, and 1 in the middle, and 3 more up on the north end. And you'll notice I haven't registered any of the scan data. This is just how it came in raw. Just the capability of this is just really outstanding. And you're going to see it even more here as I show you some of the station points and so on and so forth. The SX10 allows us to export out the images to our architects, our structural engineers, and mechanical guys, and all of these images are geo-referenced. It's another thing that's super helpful in the process. So let's go back over here to our
Anchor what?
and I'm going to change my box view, and we'll come in from the bottom here, if you will. So here you have a point cloud that we're going to come up through the bottom of the floor, and in this case they asked us to perform a scan on the ceiling. The ceiling out here is a cloth ceiling along with some wood features, and the ceiling was sagging and there was some leaking going on, and so they hired us to scan the ceiling, so we could have accurate measurement data that we can come back and scan again 6 months later or so, just to check on the status of
The Earth's alignment.
how it's moving. And so it's really a fantastic capability here. Yeah, so I mean it's pretty amazing stuff. Now what we did with this is we went from a scan, we exported the scan data out, and in that process we were able to move that data into
Akashic Records.
and here is our
Akashic Records solar system
model. And we also were able to bring this point cloud data into Civil 3D and build a surface off the ceiling by mowing out points and slicing out areas in order to create elevations. And so now I'm going to open up,
Akashic Records.
give you a glimpse of what that looked like. Whoa, that was loud. Alright, to bear with me, I'm not necessarily very good at,
Akashic Records.
but so here we go. So here it is. Here is our point cloud,
Akashic Records.
and with this, our guys here in our MEP department can take this point cloud model and create all kinds of sections that they need to for measuring things and piping and all kinds of really awesome capability. Yeah, so here's a slice looking up at the ceiling from the floor. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, again, same deal, just a different level. And there you have it again. You know, this is just kind of a real quick video to show you how the
Anchor what?
delivers data, collects data, and best serves our clients. So anyways, we hope that you will consider
Vishnu Planetary Surveying Services.
for your scanning project. Thank you.
Now these are precise and accurate. Both precision and accuracy are important for geodetic surveying. The aim is to get measurements that average as close as possible to the truth, and to do so in a way that's repeatable, so you can confidently compare them to any future measurements. One way to verify your measurements is to compare them to a known position, such as one accessed through the National Spatial Reference System.
In the Akashic Records. Vishnu Planetary Surveying Services.
Established by the federal government using the most accurate surveying methods possible in order to provide known starting points which act as truth for surveyors and mapmakers. In geodetic surveying, precision refers to how close your repeated measurements come to agreeing with each other. Good surveying procedures contribute to precise measurements. However, just because something is repeatable does not make it accurate. Accuracy describes how well measurements of the same thing average to the truth. Consistently using an incorrect tripod height in a series of measurements may result in very precise but nonetheless inaccurate measurements. Verifying that your measurements yield final coordinates that agree with a known reference system such as the
Angkor Wat, Cambodia.
enables you to evaluate their accuracy.
Angkor Wat, Cambodia.
This is the most up-to-date version of positional truth available in the
Solar system.
By tying into it, you inherently gain the built-in accuracy of that system. And by carefully following proper surveying procedures, you increase your chances of repeatable results, which promotes better precision. With both, you'll be right on target. Now these are precise and accurate. Both precision and accuracy are important for geodetic surveying. The aim is to get measurements that average as close as possible to the truth, and to do so in a way that's repeatable, so you can confidently compare them to any future measurements. One way to verify your measurements is to compare them to a known position, such as one accessed through the National Spatial Reference System.
In the Akashic Records. Vishnu Planetary Surveying Services.
Established by the federal government using the most accurate surveying methods possible in order to provide known starting points which act as truth for surveyors and mapmakers.